Welcome in to Rock Hard Ball, part of the Dogs Media Network at College Football Dogs. Let's get rock hard. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, welcome into another edition of Rock Hard Ball. We're at episode 42 now. We got Weezy back in the makeshift, I guess, studio today. Back from the illness.
Yep.
Clyde did a serviceable job last time as the co-host, but per usual, he continues to just do things that blow my mind. So he's on another one-game suspension. In all seriousness, Clyde just has stuff going on, so he's not here tonight. So no Kelly's Kiki rankings, which can be sometimes a good thing, sometimes a bad thing. But he won't be with us tonight, but it'll be just me and Weez. First Monday back in a while, so it's good to be here on a Monday. Should be hopefully not so crazy long then for either episode this week. We can kind of just do two episodes that a little bit on the shorter end and move on with our lives. So we had the recaps for both college football and NFL this week. It was week 12 in college football, week 11 in the NFL. And then we'll, of course, do Rock Hard Takes to finish off the episode, and that'll be that. So no point in continuing to fuck around. Let's just get into it. College football week 12 recap. Just run through all the games. We'll go in, I guess, just seed order, basically, what they were ranked last week. So first things first, number one team in the country, Oregon, was on the road at Wisconsin. They ended up escaping with a 16-13 win. They had to outscore them 10-3 in the second half to get out of there with the win. Good call by me last Thursday. I said that I thought that Wisconsin keep things interesting. I said the same thing with Penn State and Wisconsin, which I had to kind of eat my words on a little bit. But I said that.
I was going to say, I think we've said that about every single night game at Wisconsin so far this year.
It's only been like two against ranked teams.
I think it's been three.
I don't know what other one you're talking about.
There might not have been a ranked game, but a better team went in there.
Oh, Alabama. That was middle of the day.
Yeah. We thought that one could have been a close one.
That was middle of the day, though.
Yeah,
that was
right.
a night game.
I know. I feel like we always just keep harping on the.
Anyways, there's two of the last three games they played, though, was Penn State and Oregon. Penn State wasn't bad. I mean, they lost by 15. They hung around a little bit in the first half.
Yeah, then obviously this game was.
Oh, they were leading at the half in that one, too. They're up by 10. They're up 10-7 at half.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Wisconsin, they're very up and down. I mean, they got their asses kicked by Iowa, who hasn't been great this year. Then they go out and they have Oregon on the ropes. I will say, Oregon.
I don't think they've been playing great ball.
They haven't been playing great ball, but at the same time, I will say, like, kind of in terms of maybe making sense of it a little bit, I did see that they're the only team in the entire country that has played 8 straight conference games with no buys and no non-cons to break it up. So that in itself, I think, a little bit of props. You also got to think they're in the Big Ten now. The only teams on their that could potentially be in their schedule that would be close, games would be on the road to Washington, USC, or UCLA, which out of those options, they've only gone on the road to UCLA. Every other road game has been to Big Ten teams that aren't on the West Coast as far as conference play goes. So it's not easy to do that.
No, it's not. But I'm also never going to I'm never going to use that excuse. Like they decided to join 10.
Yeah, no.
Like, we all knew this.
I'm not giving them an excuse. I'm just
an issue.
Kind of saying, like, I do understand a little bit if there's some fatigue and stuff like that with the team.
Oh,
a lot of nameplates,
yes,
stuff like that, going back and forth between the West Coast and the Midwest. But again, props to Wisconsin for hanging around. But at the end of the day, they just really couldn't get it done. I will also want to mention Dan Lanning would probably be the absolute talk of the nation right now if Oregon loses that game on that fake field goal.
Yeah, that was ridiculous goal.
Can't be doing that.
No, it just and the read wasn't there. Like it was not a good play to begin with, and then especially in that spot. Like, dude, there's zero chance Wisconsin's going to go down with 40 seconds left to score a touchdown on you. But now you're going to let them just only get to the maybe 40. I don't know what their kicker was possible of. That was a ridiculously dumb play call.
Yeah. Also,
season spot where it's like, why? You're the number one team in the country. Just get out of there with a win.
The other thing is too is like if you really wanted to just put the nail in the coffin. You actually have the quarterback who has played the most college football of all time on your team. Let's maybe run him out there with the offense, and he's like top to win the Heisman. Maybe see if they can go pick up 3 yards rather than having your placeholder try and run a little blast up the middle.
Yeah, it might be like a little ego thing. I feel like all of America's kind of been, glazing him a little bit like these past few weeks for all how brilliant he is. Like you saw in the Michigan game, or no, not the Ohio State game when he purposely did the 12 players on the field. Then he did some bullshit formation against Michigan, which he knew would lead to a penalty. Everybody keeps sucking his dick about it. I think like that could have gone into it. It's like, oh, Dan Lanning, look at that fake field goal to put the game away.
Yeah, no. Well, I'm sure exactly what his thought process was. Is like the last thing that anybody in the entire country thinks that we're going to do is fake this field goal. So like, let's see if we can catch him off guard. And yeah, if it would have worked, then
we'd be praising him.
Yeah, we might have been like, oh, he's a genius. But at the same time, even if it works, it's easy to say this now that it didn't. But like, we really all should look back and be like, that was really stupid to call that to begin with. Like, they're lucky it worked.
Okay, what was it? Fourth and
it was like 3 or 4.
Yeah, fourth and 3 or 4 with again that offense.
Again, yeah, just roll the offense out there if you really want to pick up the first down.
That nobody would have thought like crazy of it. It's like, yeah, get this, you put them away. Instead, you run a crazy fake field goal. Yeah, that was. Yeah, they won though. They're
end of the day, undefeated. They got Washington on the road end of the year, which we'll talk about once we get there. But they're in a good spot. So next up, we got number 2 in the country, Ohio State. They played Northwestern at Wrigley. That's about the biggest story from this game. Ohio State.
Well, Northwestern scored first. It was 7-0 at one point.
Yeah, it was 7-0 at one point, but Ohio State ends up winning 31-7, which everybody and their mother saw coming, if not by more than that. So again, it's always kind of cool when they play that game at Wrigley, but other than that, I mean, there's non-story here, right?
Yeah, I mean, took care of business.
That's what you got to do. Cass joining in, first guy in the chat tonight. He said, sorry, guys, had to watch the end of this Wisconsin versus University of Texas, Rio Grande Valley. I believe Nebraska also played. So, Cass, I don't know who had the edge in the margin of victory, but hopefully you guys were able to take care of them. If not, that's probably pretty concerning. So, anyways, moving forward here, number 3 Texas on the road at Arkansas. They went up 10-0 at the half, and then were able to keep things even in the second half, winning by a final score of 20-10 on the road. Listen, we said on Thursday, like Arkansas, frisky team, could keep things interesting, which they did to a point. But at the same time, I mean, Texas was really, for the most part, in control for pretty much the entire game. So, listen, we already knew that Texas's resume isn't quite as strong as it probably a number 3 team in the country usually is. Obviously, they're very beatable because they already have lost once. But
yeah, I mean,
there was nothing.
They beat up on a bad Michigan team. Got smoked by Georgia. Like, what are their quality wins? I'm trying to date back to.
Their best win is probably on the road at Vanderbilt,
which doesn't really, move it for me. Maybe Florida after, obviously, we talk about later game. Not really, though. I mean, they smoked Oklahoma. Not impressive. I mean, yeah, it's just a weak schedule.
Yeah.
Like, if you're claiming a win at Vanderbilt's the best of a number 3 team.
Which, obviously, I'm not going to punish a team for winning. But at the same time, like, that one loss to Georgia did look bad. And then, like we just said, like Arkansas hung around with them. I mean, most of the other games have been pretty dominating wins. That win at Vanderbilt, other than that, I guess, which was by 3 on the road. But I mean, their biggest test left in the regular season going to be on the road to Texas A&M to end the year. It's going to be night game there at Kyle Field. Obviously, at that point, I don't know how all the tiebreakers are going to work out. They might even already have it locked up in terms of an SEC championship game appearance. I don't really know how the tiebreakers will work. No, I think A&M would probably have to lose before that because they're at 8-2. But they went out there in the SEC championship game.
Yep.
So I don't know. This game didn't really tell me much about Texas. I feel like it just kind of told us what we already knew. Like they're a good team, but can easily drop basically any game they play.
Yeah, if Quinn Ewers not playing good football, like they're going to lose.
Yeah.
Which again, like it's kind of a cliche because you say that about every other team, but like you see it more with like scenarios of like because obviously Quinn Ewers hasn't played that much bad football to the point where like you say like they could lose, but like then you look at a Georgia team where it's like obviously we'll keep talking about them. When Carson Beck plays bad, they will lose.
Yeah.
So obviously you get to postseason, don't want that.
100%. Also, Texas, the thing that concerns me is like I feel like a lot of times, even in the situations where sometimes they cannot, survive a bad Quinn Ewers game because they are just faster and more physical than most of the teams they play. Which obviously, it just isn't going to be the case come playoff time. So I don't know. A lot of times, especially on the speed side of things, their speeds went out for them in a lot of games this year, and that's going to be matched by the upper tier of the SEC and the just teams that you're going to see in the playoffs. So, Penn State had a dominating win on the road at Purdue. I mean, they were up 21-3 at the half, ended up winning 49-10. Again, just can't really learn much from a game like this. Purdue's
No, Purdue was one of the worst Power 4 teams in the country, if not the worst. So, yeah, I mean, good win. Penn State, I guess.
Cass said that Wisconsin won 87-84 to Rio Grande.
They not just beat Arizona by like 20.
What? Yeah, they just beat Arizona. Yeah,
That they're struggling.
Wow.
Wow.
They beat it by 3. And then he said, "Are you talking about UT Austin or UT Rio Grande Valley?" No, UT Rio Grande Valley. Yeah, that's. I think Nebraska beat by like 20 something. So obviously that probably means that Nebraska would beat Arizona by like 40 then, probably.
Something like that.
Yeah, because Rio Grande might be them boys. They might be. I don't know. When's the win, I guess. We'll probably eventually get into some college ball also. I guess probably kind of put that little disclaimer out there for anybody who's kind of just started listening within the last couple months. It's been pretty much just all football, which makes sense because it's football season. But once football season starts slowing down in terms of, not being as many games, once we get to playoff time, stuff like that, we'll probably talk a lot of NBA and college basketball as well. So
yeah, I mean, I'd love to talk a little like college basketball now, but it's like we'd almost like we'd have to like do like a Wednesday show or something, which would be a pain in the ass. Maybe once like conference play like really takes over, we'll start not going into like game after game, but maybe in the depth of like the Dukes, the Kansases.
Yeah, exactly. No, we'll hit the big match. Kind of like what we do with college football. Hit the big matchups. It's also tough too right now because again we're just heart of college football season and NFL going on too. So there's just not enough time really.
Yeah, nobody gives a shit about Game 15 of the NBA.
Exactly. Yeah. No. So we'll hold off on that stuff. But if you're a basketball fan, don't give up on us yet. We will get to you eventually. Once it's kind of more of that prime time of the season. So, anyways, back to football though. BYU next up here in the flow of games. Indiana was number 5 in the country, but they're off this week, so no game obviously to discuss for them. But here we have our first loss of the top 10 teams this weekend. Number 6 BYU loses at home to Kansas by a final score of 17-13. Thank God. Last week I said that I was going to stay away from betting anybody that's a small favorite against Kansas for the rest of the year because obviously I bit in the ass by it the week before with Iowa State. Then Kansas goes BYU. We were talking on Thursday. BYU 2.5-point favorites against a Kansas team who struggled for most of the year. Feels ridiculous, but I said it then. Looks like it kind of backed up. I didn't want anything to do with it because obviously Vegas still believes that Kansas is a talented team. Looks like they are a talented team. And it really looks like they could probably beat anybody in the Big 12 on any given Saturday.
I mean, this shit just makes no sense to me. I mean, they looked so horrible the first 6 weeks now. Vegas always know. It's like, why is this? You look at this, probably like, oh, maybe it's at Kansas or like maybe it's at Arrowhead. Like they've been playing like BYU at home and we're going to drop to Kansas. I don't get it.
Yeah. And so now what this does too, is this just opens up the floodgates for getting a ridiculous amount of either 2-loss teams from the SEC or probably even now we might end up with a 3-loss SEC team in the playoff. Because this 100% guarantees that the Big 12 has one bid. Right.
I think so. Yeah, probably.
Now it's going to come down.
We can go by team. So Big 10's going to get 3 in. Deeming 4. Deeming everybody wins out. You would have you'd have 12, 13-0. What would you have?
Big 10 most likely scenario, if everything kind of plays out as it should, would be a 13-0 Oregon, a 12-1 Ohio State, an 11-1 Indiana, and a 11-1 Penn State.
Yeah, so obviously every single one of those. I've been seeing on Twitter. I don't think it's even remotely possible. Do you think there is any way if Indiana kind of gets steamrolled a little bit by Ohio State?
You cannot leave them out 11-1. You cannot leave them out 11-1.
If they get steamrolled, I'm saying steamrolled and they go 11-1.
If they do the entire playoffs, a joke. Why did we even expand it? Because the whole point.
They're already speaking the words of the SEC. It's the best brand of football. It's all over.
I know, but it's all hypothetical.
I don't know. I see them letting in a 3-loss Georgia team over a 11-1 Indiana.
They absolutely shouldn't.
Like, I don't know.
Will they?
Georgia loses another game, but
Maybe they do like let them in, but like in absolutely no world should they.
no, I agree with you. I'm just saying, like, I would not be totally surprised at all.
Yeah, no, it wouldn't rock
yeah,
my world by any means if they
the,
did that.
the whole
but
theory
still,
is like
it shouldn't happen.
the whole theory of like obviously expanding to 12 gets more people in. It also is just a factor of okay, let's just get a bunch more SEC teams in because how much shit they got last time for bringing in one loss Alabama team over undefeated Florida State team. Like expanding to 12, they're going to bring as many SEC teams as they want or they deem fit.
But I also thought it was
and then you get an 11-1 Indiana
like
team who has not played a top class team.
I know, but on the complete flip side too, I felt like a lot of the argument was that so we don't have that where like we have a Florida State who goes undefeated and gets left out just because like there's that one scenario where that team might be better than them. Whereas if we're at 12, like then there's really no scenario where a team with 0 or 1 loss that's in a Power 4 conference doesn't get in.
I know. I got to go fully down Indiana's schedule.
The Big 12 is 100% at one bid. We have BYU and Colorado now, which is most likely going to be the title game. Colorado's at 8-2 overall. BYU's at 9-1 with their loss being to Kansas. They've dropped all the way to 14 in the AP. So whoever wins the Big 12 championship game gets in. Obviously, the loser doesn't. The ACC looks more by the day like they'll probably be a one bid conference, whether that's SMU or Miami. Maybe Clemson can still figure out a way to do it. Then we'll have Boise State, the 4 Big Ten teams. So what are we at there? We have the 4 Big Ten teams, Big 12, ACC, Boise State.
I don't know. I've been trying to
give us still room for 5 ACC teams. I think that's plenty.
Yeah, so I'm just trying to look this up. Can you pull up the Big Ten rankings?
Yeah, the conference standings.
Yeah, I don't think Indiana's being a team above 500.
You probably haven't.
UCLA, no shot. They're back to 500.
Most people still say that Indiana's best win is the just ass kicking of Nebraska.
It was a very good win. Yes, we'll call it that. But let's just don't. So
that's what I'm saying. That's how bad of a win. That's how bad it is. Is that?
Yeah. So I'm just gonna say if anybody's above 500 conference play, I'm talking because I don't care about. I don't like
overall.
FIU, West Virginia, Western Illinois, and Charlotte are all bad. What's UCLA overall?
Overall,
yeah,
4-6.
All right, Maryland.
4-6.
Northwestern, dog shit.
4-6.
Washington.
5-5. No, 6-5.
Okay, so that's going to be the one team. So their best win is 6-5.
Washington will be 500 though, because they'll lose to Oregon.
Yes, and
I get it. So again, I don't
like, and then also
Michigan know how much
will end up being 500, assuming they take care of business.
I don't even know how much like last Thursday's episode you listened to. Like Kelly and I had this exact discussion because that was a big thing on Twitter recently. Was like the whole SEC versus like your Indiana or even some people even said Penn State. Like listen, I get it. Like if you want to make the whole argument that like neutral field, like, yeah, SEC might be favored by whatever 10 points against Indiana. Or like you want to make the argument, oh, SEC plays this gauntlet schedule, blah blah blah. There's also been some very good points made about like, let's not forget that these 2 losses that all the SEC teams have not all exclusively been to each other. Like Texas, Texas A&M, Georgia, Tennessee, Alabama, Ole Miss. Those are the teams that all have 2 losses. Well, I guess Texas only has 1, but those other teams all have 2 losses. Their losses aren't just the teams in the conference. Like Texas A&M lost to Notre Dame. Let's not forget that. Alabama lost to Vanderbilt. Let's not forget that. Ole Miss lost to Kentucky. Let's not forget that. I mean, there's losses all over the place.
I mean, I agree with you. Also, the Notre Dame loss
that beat Alabama, they lost to Georgia State. Like,
no, I agree with you on that.
Yes, they are the best conference. They do have the best teams, but they are not some elite status that we have to hold above the rest of college football.
I agree with you.
I know you're not disagreeing.
I'm just saying I am not going to like. It is ridiculous to say that in 11-1 Indiana doesn't get in, but I would not be surprised if they take like a 3-loss SEC team against a team who gets boat raced by Ohio State and their best win comes against a team that's 500. Like, just think about the teams Indiana didn't have to play. They could easily be a 4-loss team.
But we don't know that.
We don't know that.
They don't set their conference schedule. That's a rotating thing.
I just
set. So
I just don't see like Indiana football gets any love in terms of like, you know what I mean? But obviously we should probably move on. But
yeah. Okay, I gotta get back to. I was looking at the standings. Fuck. Sorry, I'm all over the place here. Okay, there we go. Okay, so the biggest game of the weekend, I guess we'll get to it right now. Talking about the SEC teams beating up each other. Georgia beat Tennessee 31-17 at home, 17-17 ball game at the half. But really, I believe actually it was Tennessee took a 10-0 lead, and then Georgia outscored them 31-7 from that point on. Carson Beck finally looked good for this. Felt like the first time in forever. Completed a high rate of passes, threw for almost 350 yards, a couple of touchdowns, made plays with his legs as well, rushed for a touchdown as well. Nico did not have a touchdown in this game, which I have to imagine is probably maybe the first time that's happened this year. Georgia looked again like the Georgia that we thought we were going to see all year for most of this game, which makes a very good case for them getting in. Which again, assuming they'd win out and they go 10-2, which they almost are certain to, they play Massachusetts and Georgia Tech. Yes, like they should get in, but I just don't know how it's all going to shake out. We get a lot more confusing. I think if there's a bunch of 2-loss teams. I just will say the one that I will absolutely not be able to comprehend is if they allow a 3-loss in over a 1-loss Indiana. But now that we have again Tennessee now at 2 losses because they only had the one coming into this past week. Three losses no go. If you somehow make an argument for a 2-loss SEC over an 11-1 Indiana, that's maybe a little bit of a different story. But no 3-loss teams, anyways. But speaking of this game, Georgia back?
No, not really. I mean, look, they beat the shit out of Texas. We thought they were back. Like this team just has so many faults to it. Like again, Carson Beck showed up. They won. I don't trust him to show up every game like that. Like he's not been able to consistently put it together his entire career. So,
yeah, I think there's still some Carson Beck concerns, but I think you're still also excited to see him play well in a big spot. Needed him.
Well, if you're a Georgia fan, you're like, yeah, because you can speak yourself into, fuck yeah, we're back. Carson Beck looks great. Obviously, like you said, really efficient, damn near 350 yards. Any outsider's like, okay, that's fine. Like, give me 2 weeks. He's going to turn the ball over probably again.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not going to buy that they're fully back from this because again, I didn't think Tennessee was all that well either.
Yeah, they've been very up and down. Jason said Weezy would not be meat riding the SEC this hard if Michigan was halfway decent this year.
No, but here's like the funniest part though, and this is like it's bullshit. It's bullshit that this has to be said, but it's incredibly true. You give me an 11-1 Michigan team, who let's just say. Obviously, they do play Ohio State. Okay, so we'll say they play Ohio State. They got boat raced by Ohio State, and their next best win was against a team that was 500. Michigan gets in, and it's not because it's like Michigan football is a bigger brand.
Yeah, no, 100%, and that's what it comes down to.
I don't know if college football playoff really gives a fuck for Indiana football's brand to be in.
Yeah,
when you could get a team like if maybe Tennessee drops another game.
No,
that's my so yeah. That comment is funny, but it's like also. Like I wouldn't have to because an 11-1 Michigan team, no matter how bad their loss was or how good their best win would get into a 12-team playoff no matter what because of its brand.
That's like, I mean, part of kind of what we talked about like preseason when we thought that Nebraska actually might be like good was if they had a really good year and their only loss was, to Ohio State and like maybe like a close loss to Iowa or Wisconsin or something that like ended up being decent. Like, yeah, they probably get in because like the cultural world would have just loved a Nebraska team back into the culture.
Like people like
yes, there is a real brand factor. We all know that, which is why that we're even having this conversation to begin with. Yeah. If it was the BCS model with 12 teams, obviously Indiana would be in.
Yeah, without a doubt. Like so that's why like when I was backing the whole maybe Indiana doesn't get in, like I'm not backing them because I don't.
No, I understand that was never like your stance.
Yeah, like yes, if exact Indiana's team. Like was branded as Ohio State, Penn State, Oregon, USC, Nebraska, Michigan. Yeah, they'd all get in. The issue is, again, it's Indiana, probably the least big football name in the Big Ten. I think Purdue might have a bigger one just because of some of the big wins that they've had in, the 2010s eras against Ohio States, against Iowas.
Well, I mean, yeah, I think Indiana is actually the losingest program in the power conferences in college football history.
Exactly,
so.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I 100% get the situation that's posed. My whole thing the whole time has just been that like it's just stupid that we even have to have this conversation because That should never even be a question. The 11-1 team should get in, no matter who.
No,
it is.
I agree with you with that. Yes.
Notre Dame beat Virginia 35-14 at home. Again, I just don't really care. I will say, I guess the one thing about Notre Dame maybe is how high do you think they can go in seeding at this point?
I think high, just because of the way they have looked bouncing back from NIU.
Because I think they might end up at 6. Because Ohio State or Oregon, whoever loses that Big Ten championship game, is going to be 5.
Not if Ohio State loses again.
Yeah, maybe.
If Ohio State loses again, I think Notre Dame will get that 5 seed, especially if they really take care of business the rest of the schedule. I don't think you can just.
Who would you put at 6 if we had like? That's a tough one to pose. I don't know. Texas and Alabama play in the SEC championship game, and Alabama wins on a walk-off field goal. Does Texas get the 5 seed? Texas goes 11-1 regular season.
Yes.
In the championship game, they lose on a walk-off field goal to Alabama. Do they get the 5 seed? They're 3 right now, so obviously they
probably, yeah.
Respect.
Yeah, I would think so.
Because I think you are right in terms of the Ohio State point. I think it's a lot different if you lose the same team twice.
Yeah, we saw it with the.
I also think that the committee, though, as far as seeding goes, since especially because like there's not really a clear cut one that like a team would want to avoid this year or anything like that. I feel like the committee is going to definitely take into account that they're going to try and avoid rematches in the early rounds of the playoffs. I think they would probably much rather have if Oregon's the 1, I think they'd much rather have Ohio State be a 6, because if Ohio State's the 5, they play Oregon in the semis again, rather than then you have them playing 3 times, before the national championship game, which is like we don't want that.
No, and then again, the only reason why I'm saying they indefinitely
Texas,
why they also will not indefinitely get the
set
6, 100%. Yeah, they which again I kind of think is stupid. I think you should format how you format it. If there are rematches, there's rematches.
But it's TV, so
dude, nobody gives a shit if it's good football, right? I would sign up for Oregon, Ohio State every single week this year if I get what we got that week, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then also, I don't think you have to drop Ohio State just because they lost to the same team twice. I think it's just because everybody right now is kind of saying oh, they lost on some bullshit, that slide probably shouldn't have happened.
Yeah,
and then also it being in Oregon, people are already saying well, Ohio State probably wins that game in a neutral field. Which is why I'm saying, okay, well, if they can't back up that talk, then you have to drop them for 5.
Yeah. Also, we have to go back to the fact too. I mean, we had this discussion probably more during the 14 playoff era, and we still have to remember this for the 12 teams. Are we going to punish teams for making the conference championship game? If Ohio State goes 11-1, but then they just happen to get into the conference championship game. Let's say they're still ranked 2 going to the conference championship game, and you have I'm trying to think of a good example of who would be there. It's weird with the conference champions. I guess it doesn't really make sense because that would include them beating Indiana, and they already beat Penn State. I don't really know who this would make sense for, but just hypothetically, in some weird situation, if there's a team that's ranked 4 in the country, Ohio State's ranked 2, Ohio State makes the conference championship game, they lose. That team that's ranked 4 was maybe in the same conference. They hadn't already played head-to-head. They hadn't lost them. They didn't play at all. Do you really put them ahead of them then?
You have
just because they happen to have the tiebreaker and got into the conference championship.
I think you have to, but I don't think that should be the precedent. But I think you have to, right?
Just because there's more losses.
Yes. Yes. Again, like I said, stupid that you have to, but you probably do.
Yeah. Terry said, "What's up?" Asked how we're doing. Terry, going
well.
well.
Terry?
Good to have you in on a Monday. Good to be back overall on a Monday. Guess also while I'm kind of back over the StreamYard tab here for a second. Quick reminder: follow the socials at Rock Hard Ball, at Rock Hard Ball Pod on virtually everything that's going there at the bottom. Facebook, Twitter, or X, whatever you want to call it. YouTube, Twitch, TikTok. I don't know did I already say YouTube? If not, YouTube. Check those out as well. Back to football though. Alabama had their bye week against Mercer, which I don't want to get into this again because we probably talked about it enough on Thursday. But yes, it's stupid that the SEC gets bye weeks in weeks 12 and 13. But we'll move past it. Boise State Actually fell behind 14-0 against San Jose State on the road. End up storming back and win 42-21. GT had 32 carries for 159 yards and 3 touchdowns. Really quick, I want to mention this Heisman race. I think it's really stupid right now.
Yeah, Travis Hunter is like the
Hunter's like basically the runaway favorite now to win the Heisman. It's like, do we forget that GT has yet to rush for over 125 yards, and he has like 2+ touchdowns in like every single game except for like one, I think maybe.
No, we talked about this on Saturday night, just obviously you and me when we were hanging out. It just makes no sense to me because it's like it's the first year that like they've truly just loved that the guys plays both sides. It's like there's been so many players who've played both sides. It's like he's like unbelievably great at either one of them.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, he's done it at a higher level on both sides than we have seen in a while. But at the same time, what you were just getting to, it's like he's not
like he's the best receiver in football.
He's not the best receiver in
football. DB in football. Yeah. He's just pretty good at both of them, and he plays a lot of snaps for a decent Colorado. I don't give a shit.
Yeah,
no, I think the name thing's the biggest thing about it.
I think I saw the best tweet I probably saw comparing it was like best running back in the country, GT, best wide receiver in the country,
Aubrey just
McMillan. Yeah, I saw that. Best running back, GT, best receiver, McMillan. He hasn't seen which people are kind of hating this part of it, but best corner, Will Johnson, most snaps. Who the hell cares? Like, let's give it to a guy who's the best.
Yeah, I just see that tweet today. It's like, no, it is true. It's like he's not the best at anything he does on the field.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong, super cool what he does. I think he 100% deserves to be a finalist in the conversation. But we're seeing a historic, like this might be the best running back season since Barry, and it's close.
We've talked about Monty Ball. Yeah, it's going to be Monty because I don't think he really dropped off in touchdowns. So I think to get to that record, it's only like 26.
Still, it's
like what he's probably going to finish with 30. Monty Ball at 34.
He is 26, but I mean, still, it's like you're really telling me that this guy, like, he's gonna rush for probably, I don't know, 2,100 and 30+ touchdowns. You're really telling me we're not gonna give the Heisman to that guy?
No, and especially in a season of like, I don't think there's
not a runaway favorite.
There's not a runaway favorite. Like
they're saying that Travis Hunter is, but he's not.
Like I'm trying to think like previous years that like it was not even close. Like Devontae Smith, receiver, like you had to give it to him. His numbers were off the charts.
And then that was a year too where like there wasn't a quarterback specifically, because that's usually what it comes down to is when there's not a quarterback who's like clearly the best quarterback in the country. That's when we have a chance to give it to a position player. It's like, why don't we do it? It's like even like the year Bryce Young won. It's like, yeah, Aiden Hutchinson had a ridiculous year. Like he was, had one of the best years we've seen from a defender in a long time, but Bryce Young was just head and shoulders the best quarterback in the country, so we gave him the Heisman.
Yeah.
This year, there's not one of those. Like yes, Dylan Gabriel's had a very good year. Cam Ward's had a very good year. Neither of those guys that have separated themselves from each other or the rest of the pack. So that's why we're talking GT versus Hunter,
because it's down to those two.
Also thing that really pisses me off is like who does Ashton play? Boise State has a higher strength of schedule than Colorado does. So.
Yeah. Again, also we keep coming back to this Boise thing. They have one loss, and that one loss is on a walk-off field goal to the number one team in the country
on the road.
Yeah, it's like this team is nothing without GT. Like, also, I cannot stand the people on Twitter who are like, "Well, yeah, he should if he gets 30 touches a game." Like, they're not the yards a game on 30 touches a game is still unbelievable.
They're not,
especially when the other team knows you're doing it.
Yeah, and if they didn't give them the ball 30 times a game, they wouldn't be I don't know what they'll be in the new playoff rankings. Last week they were 13 in the country. They wouldn't be there if they weren't getting the ball.
Did you see the I'd have to look up. Do you see like the numbers of yards per
box,
depending on how many players in the box?
Yes.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
You can have 8 players in the box, he's still going to average 8.
Yeah. 9+ in the box was the only time he's like below.
It was 2.2.
That's the only one he's below like 6 yards of carry. I'm pretty sure.
No, it's at 8. It's 7.7.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, 100%. But we could move past that for now. We'll talk about it more as we get close to the Heisman. But I think if he rushes for over, 2,100, like 30 touchdowns, you can't not give it to him. SMU beat Boston College 38-28 at home. Good win. They're all signs are pointing towards them having a chance at the ace. They're going to be the ACC title game. I think almost close to have to be close to guaranteeing it here at this point because I think they're the only team in the conference still that's undefeated. They have to go on the road to Virginia, then home versus Cal to finish out the year. The rest of the standings, Miami has 1 loss, Clemson has 2. And outside of that, everybody else is 3+. So if SMU wins next week, they clinch a spot in the ACC title game. And yeah, they look good, but Boston College, I mean, went home, good win, but
yeah, it's a fine win.
Yeah.
A&M,
another SEC team on bye, won 138-3 at home against New Mexico State. Another Big 12 team that lost once again. K-State now drops 7-3 after losing 24-14 at home against Arizona State, and it was really probably worse than the score even looks. They scored all of their 14 points in the second half. Arizona State was up 21-0 at halftime. Big 12 is just a mess this year. Arizona State, kind of too bad for them that they, dropped one early to Texas Tech. And then there's another bad one like Cincinnati on the road. It's like, of all the games that they could have lost, like you lose Cincinnati and Texas Tech. Like Texas Tech's solid, but like Cincinnati, not a great team.
No.
So kind of weird in terms of like who they're losing to, but pretty good year though for the most part. They'll play BYU at home next week. So I mean, who knows what that's going to be? I don't know yet. We'll take a look at that Thursday. And then they finish out the year on the road to Arizona. So good win for Arizona State. K-State, unfortunate for them. Bad way to end the year because they still have a chance to playoff coming into this week. If they would have won out, I don't know what the tiebreakers would have ended up shaking out as, but definitely would have had a chance to get into that title game. And then obviously a title game would have gotten them in. So now are officially limited playoff contention, but that's just football, I guess. So speaking of Big 12 teams, though, one team who has really come on strong at the end of the year as everybody else has collapsed has been Colorado. They won 49-24 over Utah at home. I mean, credit where credit is due. All they've been doing lately is winning. I get that their schedule hasn't been exactly brutal, but a lot of signs are pointing towards the fact that Deion's going to have these guys in the playoffs,
which sucks for America. It really does.
Yeah, it's really annoying. But again, credit where credit is due. They got things figured out. That's been a hell of a turnaround. I mean, this team was 1-11 2 weeks ago. So
yeah, I mean, here. Shout out them. Really helps. Obviously, the Big 12 is just dumpster fire right now. Obviously, Utah was projected to win it. We thought they were. No Cam Rising. Utah looks like they're awful now, which they kind of are. I'm still not incredibly impressed with this team.
There's just nobody in the Big 12 that's impressive though. So we had to pick somebody.
They don't here. I mean, yeah, they finished up with Kansas. Which
will probably beat them because Kansas is just ruining the Big 12.
And then they end the season versus another team that just shit the bed all year, Oklahoma State.
Yeah. Also, I missed this comment a couple minutes ago, but we better throw it up there. When we were talking about Ashton Ginty and like the box's face, he said, Cass said talking box with Weezy, new segment. So maybe we can make that a weekly thing. Just Weezy talking box. Anyways. Back to the games. Washington State was ranked 18th. They lost New Mexico State. Not State, just New Mexico on the road, 38-35. So sorry to Troy, one of our guys at College Bulldogs, our sales guy, actually fresh president of College Bulldogs. So his Wazoo Cougars lost. So tough to see. But I mean, they were never really in contention for anything, anyways. Louisville was 19th in the country. Came into the game 6-3. Lost to Stanford on the road, bad loss for them in the ACC. Makes that, I mean, they're probably Notre Dame's best win, so that makes their resume a little bit weaker with that loss. But again, not a big deal. Clemson survived against Pitt 24-20. They're still alive for a chance to make the ACC title game. South Carolina beat Missouri 34-30. The game was actually a little closer than I thought. I thought South Carolina might win by more at home against a Missouri team who's just been pretty bad for most of the year. And then Florida beat LSU. Weez, but I don't know if you kind of missed it last week. Took the victory lap on LSU. If you want to kind of get on this again now.
Yeah, can I jump on it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Brian Kelly, how do you still have a job?
Yep.
Do we know how? Garrett Nussmeier, bad fucking quarterback. We knew it week 1. We knew this team was really bad week 1. We knew that game week 1 or week 0. Was it week? No, it was week 1. That LSU. We knew both those teams sucked, and just every single week we're just proving more right and more right, and it's awesome.
Yep.
Then again, though, I will say now we have to kind of spin on this. Is Florida kind of back? Like Florida's
a little
kind
bit
of
of revelation here
really
at the end of the year. Yeah, for sure. Really, it was after Napier was like announced that like he'll be staying. Like the AD announced like he's gonna stick around.
Does that mean that maybe players didn't like him? Like, let's just try to get him out of here. Let's throw.
Yeah,
no, he's saying, "Fuck, all right, let's win football games then," because this losing thing kind of sucks.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they beat Kentucky a couple weeks ago. Then they had 2 really tough games. They played Georgia and Texas. But they hung with Georgia. They lost that one by 2 scores, and they were up at that one point in that game, weren't they?
Yeah.
That was like back had like 2 or 3 picks. The Texas, tough loss, 49-17. Then now they beat LSU, who obviously we say sucks. They probably don't suck, but they're just not like a top 25 team.
No, not even close.
But they're probably still top 50. And then they lost Tennessee on the road by 1 score. And then before that they had a couple wins. So it looked like just absolute disaster early on, but they got things kind of scraped together here a little bit. Now let's see, they should be bowl eligible. They have Florida State on the road end of the year. Lord knows that they're fucking awful. So they should win 6 games, get to a bowl game. They have Ole Miss at home. Maybe a little trappy for Ole Miss. Could be dangerous. Their playoff resume.
How electric would the Michigan Florida bowl game be?
Yeah.
That one's gonna be on like a Tuesday.
Yeah. Yeah, the Tax Slayer Gator Bowl. Final game here. Navy, who was the darlings of America for a little bit, get just pissed stomped on by Tulane, 35-0. If we would have had rock hard bets last week, this actually probably would have been like my, I don't know, whatever game of the week, something like that. Tulane was only favored like a touchdown. I'm pretty sure I said it on the show, and I know I bet it as so. Like it was, like I had a little parlay, down on Saturday. And then I threw like whatever $5-10 on games here or there, but I mean I put like $25 in Tulane to cover the spread because it felt like easy money. And yeah, it was true. Navy was never very good.
No,
which we already knew from the.
Shout out the troops though. Shout out the troops.
Yeah, shout out the troops for sure.
Bad at football though.
Yep, not great. Army Navy game does not nearly have the same.
God, that would have had so electric.
Dude, if they were both undefeated, that would have been crazy. Or even like an 11-1 Navy with like a close loss. If they both were like 11-1 close losses in Notre Dame from both of them,
it's gonna be 2 ranked teams. I don't care if it's 24-25.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but that's obviously just not gonna happen now. No. So, and then we're gonna see what happens with Army this coming week because they play Notre Dame now too. We'll see how legit they are. I guess probably not.
Again, shout out the troops.
Yeah, shout out the troops for sure. But yeah, probably not. Yeah, it's very good. Michigan was off. Let's talk about Nebraska, I guess. First week with Dana Holgerson at the OC. Some people were kind of mixed reactions from the Nebraska fans. I mean, I don't really think there's that much improvement with the offense. Some people thought there was. I think there was maybe some flashes here and there. The biggest concern really at this point is that just like, I mean, we've already said it probably a couple times, but it's like Raiola just really hasn't gotten any better as the season's gone on. And if anything, he's probably played worse since the season started, which I think a lot of that is just destroyed confidence from how bad they were for a lot of the year with Satterfield and stuff like that. Listen, this was just a really ugly game. Didn't look like either team wanted to win it. They both just kept trying to lose, it felt like. At the end of the day, obviously USC comes out with the win. We can talk, all we want about the egregious hold in the end zone at the end of the game. I'm not really going to complain about that too much, though, because like Nebraska should never been in that situation. Like you had so many opportunities to put that game in a spot where you didn't need to get that touchdown to win or to tie. And who knows? I guess actually that's another good point. Who knows what would have even happened if they get that touchdown? It would have been one untimed down. So who knows if they didn't get the touchdown? If they get the touchdown, they have to get the 2-point conversion. If they get the 2-point conversion, we go to overtime, and they still have to win in overtime, which Lord knows we can't do that. So,
yeah, I mean,
listen, I'm still going to say, like, I'm not going to completely give up hope week in and week out. It's still just win one more game, get to the bowl game, get that monkey off the back. But as of now, like I'm to the point now where it's I'm not gonna crash out like over losses at all. Like there's just really no point. But at the same time, like I still do believe that there's talent on this team to win a game and get to that bowl game, especially with how we've seen Wisconsin and Iowa play this year. They've both been very up and down. So listen, I want Nebraska to make the bowl game. I think they can still beat one of the two, but they got to put it together. And we'll see if they can legitimately do that. I honestly don't know if they can, but
I think next week has to be the week. You're catching a Wisconsin team who just played, an absolute nail biter against the number one team in the country.
At home.
You're at home. It's not a rivalry per se week for Nebraska. Got to get it done next week, I think.
Yep. Okay, that's really all the time I'm going to spend on Nebraska. Hopefully we can spend more time next week talking about a win, but we'll see. Okay, that's going to do it for the College Football Week 12 recap. I guess actually forgot we did have a comment from Jerry here earlier. And add on to the end of the College Football talk. Love to hear the thoughts of Northwestern's new stadium if you guys saw the video. I don't know. I didn't freshly see a video. I remember seeing renderings of a video.
I think he's talking about Wrigley Field.
Wrigley Field? Oh, I don't know.
Oh, or is he talking about the actual new stadium going up?
Yeah, I've seen the actual new stadium going up. I mean, their new stadium does look cool.
Is it even underground yet?
I don't know. I would assume so. That's probably why they're not playing there.
I feel like I would have seen photos of construction of it. Because like you said, I've only seen
maybe that's what he's talking about. That might be what he's talking about. Is there's probably a video of how it looks, maybe. I don't know. But,
or is he talking about just the practice field on the lakeside? I don't know which one.
We kind of talked about that early on in the year. That's also
no, I've seen the renderings now. It's supposed to be really cool.
Yeah, I don't know. All right, we'll go to commercial. Jerry, if you're still there, maybe give us more details on what you're talking about. But we'll take a quick 1 minute break, and then when we come back, we will get into an NFL Week 11 recap, and then from there we'll do Rock Hard Takes, and we'll get you out of here. So once again, listen to Rock Hard Ball, part of the Dogs Media Network at College Football Dogs. We'll be right back.
On the College Football Dogs website, you'll find a main page that features some of our biggest and newest stories. Our conference pages for content related to your favorite team's conference. Our team store, where we have products that are available all year long, as well as gear available for a limited time only. Our podcast page, where you can see when one of the 12 plus College Football Dogs podcasts is streaming live on social media. Our subscription page, where you can join our Discord. If you're interested in becoming a contributor at College Football Dogs, email us at info@collegefootballdogs.com. If you enjoy any College Football Dogs content, we really do appreciate any donations you can make by visiting the donate page on our website or scanning the QR code here.
College Football Dogs, for the fans.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Rock Hard Ball, per the Dogs Media Network at College Football Dogs. Once again, if you're new, I'm Carter, that's Weezy. Make sure to check out the social scroll across there on the bottom at Rock Hard Ball, at Rock Hard Ball Pod on all the major platforms. And then you can also see there, we're live every Monday and Thursday at 9 p.m. Central Time. So make sure you continue to tune in. Like we mentioned earlier, a lot of football here the last few months. But as football kind of starts weeding out games as we get into conference championship weekends and playoffs and stuff like that, we have a little bit more time to fill. We'll get into some more college basketball, NBA talk, stuff like that. So, all that stuff's on deck coming forward. But let's get into Week 11 in the NFL season. I guess first things first, update on Monday Night Football. Cowboys handing around a little bit with the Texans, 20-10. Just under 13 minutes to go here in the ball game. I have to assume that the Texans still end up pulling this out, but kind of surprised, honestly, that the Cowboys even having the 10 because they've looked like just an absolute dumpster fire lately. Let's get to Sunday. So, Vikings win 23-13 over the Titans. Listen, they're 8-2, and as I said that, okay, strip sack.
It was. I'm going to break down this whole play for you. Strip back, arm hit, rush from behind. Cowboys lineman picks it up and says, "Let's be a hero." gets
okay.
leveled. And ball
Oh.
pops out, and then another big man picks it up. Touchdown.
Okay. So Cowboys not hanging around with the Texans anymore. Yeah, I gotta watch
Bad
the replay here.
podcasting, but you gotta watch.
No, I know. Strip sack. Good catch. Oh. I mean, it's more you kind of got hit on the ball. Really.
Yeah, I thought he got popped.
Yeah.
Nah,
But I mean, yeah, good play by Barnett. I mean, he gets the strip sack, gets back in the possession of the Cowboys, and then he still somehow scores a touchdown, which is kind of a crazy sequence. But all right, Vikings beat the Titans 23-13. Vikings are somehow 8-2. I think they prove week in and week out that they're not a very good football team. This might be one of the worst 8-2 teams of all time, I think.
No, remember when that one team of what team was it that started like was it like 10-0 and 10-1 and then lost like a Daniel Jones
Vikings.
Yes, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
So that team also fucking sucked. So
Yeah.
I think the Vikings just I was having you caught on there.
Yeah.
No, they're bad though. They're gonna get proven it. Like again, they're like look at their so they lose to the Lions, arguably the best team in football, lose to the Rams, fully healthy again. Fine. And they beat the Colts, who aren't very good. They beat the Jags, who are bad.
Let's not forget the Jags game. They kicked 4 field goals and Sam Darnold threw 3 picks, and they still somehow won.
The same Jags team that the very next week we'll talk about what
Yeah.
happened to them. Then they beat the Titans, and then it's like, okay, play the Bears twice still.
I think the Bears beat them at least once.
I think Bears beat them probably at home. Or at Soldier Field.
I mean, like I could see that, like Cardinals or Falcons, like there's a very good chance they lose at least one of those two.
I think it's more likely that they lose to them.
Lose both. Yeah. No, I agree. Yeah.
Seahawks.
And that's on the road.
Seattle.
Yeah.
Before Christmas is tough, and then Green Bay probably a loss. At Detroit probably a loss. Like, yeah, I mean.
They might finish like 9-8, 10-7.
Yeah, I think their final record will be very indicative of what they truly are as a football team.
Yeah. I'll go 10-7. I think that'd probably be my final record prediction for the Vikings. Which again seems egregious for a team that's 8-2, but they just don't look like they're that good of a team. So and then I don't have anything to say about the Titans. Dolphins beat the Raiders 34-19 at home. I mean, this one was kind of, you could see this coming from a mile away. Like obviously the Dolphins aren't really that bad of a 3-7 team. They have been missing 2 of most of the year. And the Raiders actually are that bad of a team. So got not to put all.
Yeah, that's about it. Brock Bowers continues to prove that he might actually just be the best tight end in football right now. Really and then like you said, Dolphins. I mean, it sucks if you're the Dolphins or a Dolphins fan because obviously pretty much have to win out. But like if obviously that injury never happened, you guys probably would be a lot better right now. So
Rams beat the Patriots 28-22. Definitely a little bit more of a sweat in this game for the Rams than I think I was maybe expecting. Like they played a pretty good game too for the most part. Stafford 18 for 27, almost 300 yards, 4 touchdowns. Kyron Williams 15 carries for 86 yards. Both Kupp and Nakua were involved, 3 touchdowns between the two of them.
I think it's just the Drake May Patriots, man.
I mean, they're
a frisky ass team.
Yeah, Drake May looks good every week, man. 75% completion rate this week, just under 300 yards, 2 touchdowns. He did throw a pick. Did a couple scrambles as well for good pickups.
I think the pick was on the last play of the game. So I mean, I'm not going to blame a quarterback for trying to make a play when you need 6 points.
Yeah, no, 100%. But yeah, the Drake May Patriots are frisky indeed. But then also the Rams now 5-5, getting their groove back a little bit. Could be an interesting team to keep an eye on for. I mean, 5-5 with how competitive the NFC is this year. Like last year, you were in a good spot, like a really good spot, really.
Yeah.
For trying to make the playoffs. This year, you are kind of in a spot right now where you almost had to still win the division. Like,
yeah, I mean, again, we just said Vikings are going to go bad, but the loser of, I mean, the winner of the NFC North can obviously be an automatic bid. My projection would be they're going to be.
I think there's a 100% chance that there's at least 2 teams from the NFC North. There's a decent chance that you get 3. So that leaves.
I think it's almost 100% chance that they get 2.
I said 2. Yeah, 100% chance they get 2.
Oh, I thought you said that. Like I have a feeling.
I said 100% chance they get 2, and I said.
Oh, okay.
I said also like a decent, like very realistic chance that they have 3.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, I would say Lions Packers are guarantees almost at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Just depends on who wins the division. And then, yeah, again, if the Vikings win 10 games, probably in as well, which I don't think they drop almost every other game. So
Yeah, exactly.
I'm rooting for it, though.
Yeah, no, but at the same time, I do like when the Vikings fans get false hope and then lose in the playoffs.
Yeah, what would be better than everybody when they were undefeated, telling everybody how fucking good we are. Oh, you guys thought we'd be bad. And they just missed the playoffs.
Straight up miss. Yeah, that'd be good too.
One other team who did what they did.
I actually didn't notice this game at all. But the Saints beat the Browns 35-14 at home, which is funny mostly to me because Jameis threw for almost 400 yards, 2 touchdowns, and didn't throw a pick, and they still got pumped by 20 points.
No, that's where I'm gonna complain. Fantasy football. I start the New Orleans Saints defense. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get. They gave up 14 points and they got 0 points for me.
Yeah,
because they gave up 500 total yards. They didn't have a sack. They didn't have a pick. They didn't have a fumble recovery. Getting 0 points and only letting up 14 is mind blowing.
Well, what I want to know is what the hell? How did the Browns drives all end? Did they turn over on downs 3 or 4 times? They had to have. I'm trying to look at the things here, but okay, so they
first
turned over
quarter,
on
downs, punt, touchdown, punt, missed field goal, touchdown, punt, downs, punt.
Okay, so 2 turnovers on downs is 2 missed field goals. Makes more sense.
Yeah,
but still, that's wild. To have that many yards.
But if they have that many yards too, then those field goals had to be awfully short.
Yeah, it probably tells you if you click on them.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
51. Wow. Maybe a lot of penalties for the Browns.
And 27.
27's bad.
So you don't want to miss the chip shot.
That's bad. Yeah, that was a. They went 14 plays for 84 yards, and he missed. Oh, that was the half too. That's brutal. Minute 55, 84 yards. Tough. Okay. I don't want to spend any more time on this game, but that was interesting. That kind of jumped out at me on the stat sheet because, again, like I said, I just didn't really see that game at all. So I don't. Also, the Saints scored 21 in the fourth, so that also makes it seem a lot different. It was 14-14 going to the fourth. Okay, dumpster bowl. It seems like between the 2 worst quarterbacks in the league, Colts, Jets, 28-27. Actually, Aaron Rodgers hasn't really been that bad this year. The Jets have just been horrible. But Colts win 28-27. Anthony Richardson plays probably his best game of the year. He went 20 for 30, passing 270 yards, a touchdown. He also carried it 10 times for 32 yards and 2 touchdowns. On the flip side, Rodgers 22 for 29, 184 yards, 2 touchdowns. Breece Hall 16 carries, 78 yards, a touchdown. Probably 2 of the best games from both of these teams this year. Just unfortunately for the Jets, they caught a week where Anthony Richardson were kind of football. So.
Yeah, I mean, again, I didn't watch much of this on purpose. Jets are bad. And again, good. The only true good thing out of this is congrats, Anthony Richardson. You didn't look like a total jackass out there.
Yeah. So. Steelers Ravens was a really big game. Steelers ended up winning 18-16 at home.
This devil magic's got to stop with the Steelers team.
I don't think devil magic. I think they're good.
They keep winning games without scoring touchdowns. That should never happen. You should never beat a team like the Ravens without scoring a touchdown once.
I get that logic, but at the same time, I do think that the Steelers are legitimately good.
They are. Don't get me wrong, but how many times have you as a team have you seen a team in a year be like, oh yeah, we scored 18 points by just field goals, we won? Well, it's the 3rd time they've done it.
I know, but it's at the same time, I feel like there's been Steelers of past in the last couple of years where they've had teams like this that somehow win games like this, and they get off a hot start maybe, but then they we all know it's a bad team. This one's different though. It's because they're figuring out ways to win games, and I still think that they're a very solid team that could make some waves in the playoffs too. Not even just making the playoffs. I think they could win a couple playoff games.
Yeah, I think they could too. They're very good.
The defense very good. Wilson looks like he rejuvenated his career.
I'm just saying. I'm not saying kick if you kick field goals against a bad team when you're not playing good, it's different. Steelers are a good team. I'm saying that 100%. They're a very good team. I don't care how good you are. You should not be able to beat the Steelers. I meant the Ravens off of field goals.
Yeah, no, theoretically shouldn't. At the same time, though,
I wish they also don't.
their
Justin
defense
Tucker
played
wasn't
so well
much.
that they were able to do that. And yes, like you just said, Justin Tucker, that's weird how he just kind of fell.
We just
He's
put him
not that
down.
old.
We put him down.
He's not that old though. It's like he's 35, which by kicker standards is really not that old.
It's like when your prized horse has a broken leg, though. Just take him out back. I
Yeah,
can't.
I mean, Harbaugh already made it clear that they're not like.
I know
worried about it, but
I just don't like seeing that guy miss kicks. It feels weird.
yeah, no, it is.
I never
Did you
see
see
Justin Tucker miss.
He's missed enough now this year where he's actually dropped himself out of first place all time for accuracy, which is kind of sad. But I think he'll eventually get it.
The one thing though, because you see him bitching at the playing surface.
No,
he like was not really ranting, but like they were pretty much asking him like what the hell happened, like what's going on. He's like, yeah, I just like the playing surface is that bad. Like I couldn't get my feet under me. It's like, dude, the other team won solely off field goals.
Yeah,
like
I think the most interesting thing about it is I was actually reading an article that talked a little bit about this earlier. Justin Tucker, so the Rams drafted a punt, or not the Rams, the Ravens drafted a punter in the 2023 draft, and their punter who they had for a long time, Sam Cock, was like getting old, and it's like it must have been kind of probably an agreed upon thing where it's like we're going to draft a punter, you're going to retire. So he retires. They draft a punter. He goes into like a coaching role with special teams. Apparently, like it's been like actually like a kind of like somewhat well-known fact like in NFL like circles that like he's like one of the best holders of all time. Tucker with him kicked over 90% when he had Sam Cock, and then ever since he's left, he's been like low 80s. And so I think that actually has like a big part to do with it. Is that the
I mean, yeah, that's not shocking. Like, yeah, when you've kicked with a guy,
he held him
for 10 ages,
years.
for 10 years, and you got a new guy who might hold it slightly, not how you please, or not as good. Yeah, okay, yeah. It's not like that's like a conspiracy theory. It's
no, I just thought it was very interesting. Like I didn't realize that. I had no idea that was a thing. Because I just don't really keep up on my punters and holders very often. Broncos and Bo Nix in particular. Let's talk about them a little bit. Big time win for them. Bo Nix looked really, really good. 28 for 33, 307 yards, 4 touchdowns. Just pounded the Falcons at home. Falcons skidding a little bit, which may be a little bit of a concern. They lost 2 in a row now. One of the Saints, one of the Broncos, and they barely escaped the Cowboys right before that. But again, I think the bigger story here is the Broncos. They're 6-5 now. Bo Nix obviously been a little up and down at points this year, but I think it's the last 2 games now, wasn't it? I think he played really good last week too. If he starts playing like a legitimate quarterback, like consistently, like they'll have a chance to make the playoffs, maybe even win a game. You never know.
No, you just said it. Like again, a team that's bad doesn't just beat an Atlanta team by 30.
Yeah,
it's a good football team, especially if Bo Nix is playing this well. He's doing what he needs to do. He's not turning the ball over. I like the Broncos a lot.
Yeah. No, last week I was right. He went 22 for 30 for 215 yards and 2 touchdowns. The week before that against the Chiefs, they lost in that block.
Also, you can bank on that defense too. So,
and yeah, realistically, they should be 7-4.
Yes.
If they don't get the interior of their line just exploded.
Like obviously, Bo Nix is the talk, but again, even like they've won enough games when Bo Nix they let him adjust, and they're still above 500 because of how good that defense is.
Exactly. Yeah. No. Yeah. The only I guess probably negative news for the Broncos right now is that you play in the AFC West, which is probably the best division in the AFC right now.
Yeah.
So that part of it's kind of a tough break, but hey, just keep winning games and kind of see what shakes out. Seahawks beat the Niners 20-17 on the road. I think Niners are definitely in a position now where it's panic a little bit. You have CMC back now. It's the second week back. Pretty much the entire team now has gotten pretty healthy for the most part, as far as I know. And you lose again at home to a Seahawks team who's been very up and down. Is not not by any means the most talented team in the league. Like they're like a solid squad, but they're nothing special. Jackson Smith and Jigba, I guess I will say, has had 2 really big.
He's been going on a tear.
But yeah, I think concern now for the 49ers. I mean, listen, Packers play them this coming week, which we'll talk about more on Thursday. Obviously I hope they beat them. But as a Packers fan, listen, I'm not going to pretend like it's not there. Seems to be real. They just have our number. I would love it if they don't get in the playoffs. We don't have to worry about it. Yeah, if we play them, yeah, we'll meet them. Hopefully we can get it done, beat them. But like, if I don't even have to worry about that headache of just like another potential loss to 49ers in the playoffs, that would be fucking just wonderful. But no, they got to figure stuff out. They're lucky that the rest of their division is all pretty close, so they still have a good chance to win the division. But like NFC, again, we talked about it earlier with the Rams. Like you hover around 500 too long, you're going to fall out of the playoff race if you don't win your division. NFC West now, it's the Cardinals at 6-4, Seahawks, Niners both at 5-5, and the Rams at 5-5. So it's razor tight in that division. But if they keep beating up on each other, nobody. There's going to be.
Who do we think ultimately comes out with it?
As of now, I mean, history and roster still tells me to bet on 49ers. I honestly, I would be more comfortable just picking the one team I don't think is going to win. I don't think the Seahawks can.
Yeah,
but I
really
think it's a toss up between the Niners, the Rams, and the Cardinals right now.
But you're taking the Niners, like if you had to.
I don't know. I think I'd probably just slightly lean Rams or Niners, like those two, just slightly over the Cardinals. But the Cardinals still too, like for me, it's like they have the best player in the division, I think, right now, or in the biggest spot, Kyler Murray. I think Kyler Murray is.
So that's where that's why if I had to choose one, gun to my head, I'm going to take the Rams because it's a quarterback I trust the most.
I trust Stafford the most in terms of making the playoffs. In terms of just, I mean, regular season, like in just
sheer talent,
sheer talent. Yeah, I think Kyler's more right now. But
yeah, I also don't trust the Rams.
That's also why I'm going Rams. Yeah, like, in terms of slight edge.
Obviously, the Niners have like the talking points and the names. Obviously, seems he's coming off of a weird Achilles injury that he had to go to fucking Germany for, right?
Yeah.
Deebo Samuel's fat and should have said it like that. Deebo Samuel's fat and kind of washed right now. George Kittle's still very good. But like Ayuk's torn ACL, like
I don't trust Purdy.
And I don't trust this team is just not what it was
yeah.
Past.
Yeah. No, I 100% get what you're saying.
The Cardinals, I think, are just too streaky. Like it's number one play telling by like just go look at like Marvin Harrison's stats.
Yeah.
He'll go 1 for 10 and then go 9 for 140. It's like
the one thing again with the Cardinals that I just go back to is like there's stuff that Kyler Murray can do on a football field that literally nobody else on planet Earth can do. In terms of like the escapability and the extension in the pocket right now, he's the best in the league.
Oh yeah,
like you can't tackle him.
He's what like Bears fans were hoping Caleb Williams would be.
Kind of, yeah, and it's like
he's not fast enough. He tries to do and he gets.
I also said too, it's like like again, I know everybody glazes and I'm trying not to do it here, and we're gonna do his game next. But it's like how Mahomes sometimes I just feel like every time he thinks about to be sacked, seems like he somehow slips out. It's like Kyler Murray's that. Except he's a lot faster. And
so like yeah.
It's like you just
like when Mahomes picks up 20 on that, Murray might take it to the house.
Exactly, and so that's why it's like at any given point in a game for the Cardinals, Kyler Murray can change the entire game with his legs, or even with his arm still too. But by extending a play with his legs and then finding a guy that's wide open downfield because the play's taking so long. That's why I still like them a little bit too, and I've kind of, I mean, in all honesty, been a little beat writer for the Cardinals even since preseason. Yeah, but. No, I like that team a lot, and I'm very excited to see how the NFC West shakes out. I think they're the most interesting division in terms of like the race for the division crown right now. I mean, obviously, it's like the NFC North, has 3 teams at 7-3 or better, but it's like the Lions with a 2-game lead on the Packers already, and it's like I think the Vikings are going to fall off. Lions have that 2-game lead already, and they have one of the head-to-head wins already. I think they also care a lot about getting that bye and the home field advantage. I don't see them letting their foot off the gas. So I think that division race isn't completely over, but I think there's a very good chance the Lions win it. NFC West, though, is just the Wild West. Like, I have no idea who the fuck's going to come out of there. So it's exciting. All right, I mentioned Mahomes. Let's talk about the Chiefs. They finally lose 30-21 against the Bills. Again, give myself a little pat on the back. Thursday, I called it. I said, this is where I think they finally lose. I think, obviously, that wasn't some sharp guess. I think the Bills are favored, but it definitely felt like a spot where a team that was going to be too good for the Chiefs to be able to get away with not playing a great game, or Mahomes maybe turn the ball over, which is exactly what happened. Mahomes threw a couple picks, and in this one it was just too much to overcome. Obviously, Josh Allen is ridiculous for the Bills as well. Once again, I think proving that he is a bona fide top 3 quarterback in the NFL. I think it's Mahomes, Allen, and Jackson, and then it's everybody else right now as far as quarterback talent goes. So next, I don't know. I bet you probably put Burrow there too. He's been ridiculous.
Wait, what were the 4 you'd put?
I'd say like in terms of, I think there's a first tier class quarterback.
Mahomes, Allen, Lamar,
and Burrow. Yeah, I think those 4 are a step above the rest. But really good game. This one was fun to watch. It was nice that we had like that we didn't have too terribly many games in like that later window. So I just had this game like on the main screen and the other game was just
it's like this is the one time when like I actually prefer just like only 3 games. It's like you have a game of this like statute and like everybody wants to watch this game.
Yeah.
Give me 2 games I can maybe like tune into. Don't really give a shit about. My problem is when they do this when it's 3 dog shit games. Yeah, it's like all right, football's over.
100%. Do you have any other thoughts to add to the game or?
No, I mean, here I wasn't on Thursday's show. Could have told you the Bills were also probably going to win. The devil magic didn't go on much longer.
Yeah.
Like again, they're 9-1. It's like kind of like this KC team just does not look like the KC team it has been like the past 2 years in terms of like.
We also said that the last 2 years where it's like, this Chiefs team.
We said that last year, but that's because the year before last year was truly like ridiculous. Just the offensive production that they had. Like it just feels like the offense, if they do find themselves in trouble, it's like who's Mahomes going to throw the ball to? Like, obviously, if D-Hop is getting old, it's like we're going to rely on like Noah Gray. Noah Gray got more production in that game. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but Kelsey did really come on strong a couple weeks before that.
No, yeah, I know. I know.
It's
the first time in like a while. I don't think they're in the AFC.
I just legitimately never like the last couple of years. I just don't try to read it into the Chiefs regular season like at all. Like when they got
every off season, and then we get to the season, I'm like, fuck, they don't look good. Mahomes doesn't look like himself. Yeah, they'll probably win the Super Bowl again this year.
Exactly. Then that's probably the difference between you and I. Is like, I feel like I am still doing. I feel like I've stayed pretty level on them the whole year. Where it's like when they're winning all the games, like I wasn't like, oh, they're clearly the best team in the NFL or anything like that. And then like now when they do lose, and they've had some shaky wins. I'm not going to judge anything like until we hit the playoffs with them because it just seems like every single year we do that, and then Mahomes finds a different gear, Kelsey finds a different gear, and they just find ways to win games. So I don't know. Obviously they're good. Obviously they're going to make the playoffs. They're going to win their division. They're going to be a contender. The question is just like, will they be able to find that their gear again? We'll see. Finally, Chargers Bengals, really fun Sunday night game. Final score is 34-27. Big Cat actually had a great tweet. Bengals obviously fall to 4-7 now. Damn near out of the playoff race. You probably have to win out. I don't know. Maybe you can get a 9-8, but I highly doubt it. There should just be some weird rule where like the Bengals can auto bid because they do play just a super fun game every single week, and they're incredibly fun to watch. They just can't win football games. Their defense is horrible. Like I was just saying with those quarterbacks, Burrow has played out of his mind all year long. And in this game, he goes 28 for 50, 356 yards, throws 3 touchdowns, doesn't turn the ball over, and they lose. Which if any other quarterback on just about any other team does that, they win the game. Not the Bengals.
Yeah, there's an element to that, but like, do you not think there's any part of that though too that says, hey, well, maybe don't go down 24-6?
Well, yeah, but still,
but a bulk of that was getting back into the game, which they clearly caught the Chargers and we won this one kind of a blowout.
I almost sometimes think that's more impressive because then the other team knows you have to throw the ball and you're trying to get back in the game and you're still able to execute at that high level and be efficient.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
Obviously, yes, it does give you more opportunities in terms of the yards and stuff like that. Yes, but it's not like he was like completing 50% of his passes or anything.
Yeah, no, 100%. Then obviously counterpart Herbert played really well.
Yeah,
which he's been doing just the entire year.
Yeah,
I don't know.
He had a shaky start. First few weeks were kind of bad for Herbert, but ever since he's got like a couple of the weapons healthy and stuff like that, ground game's really gotten going. Chargers look dangerous too, and it still feels like nobody's really talking about them.
I was going to bring up this exact point. They have a very like name brand coach with Jim Harbaugh. Mm-hmm. Everybody in the world knows him. They have just like Justin Herbert, but it feels like the past 2 years they talked about this team a lot more.
Yeah,
when they were a lot worse, they were a lot more like they played a lot more games in prime time. I feel like we'd always watch Herbert. Now it's like they're 7-3 with a very famous and some people love him, some people hate him head coach. It's like just like we don't hear about him at all.
Yeah, no, for sure.
I think this maybe it's like a Chiefs effect. Maybe it's like, well, nobody else can win that division, so who gives a fuck?
Maybe a little bit of that. Also, I would say, again, it's kind of like the exact same, the opposite side of where we're at with the Bengals, where it's like the Bengals have Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Joe Burrow, like they're fun. They score a lot of points, stuff like that. That's kind of what the Chargers were the last couple of years with Keenan Allen, Mike Williams. They had the weapons. They had the quarterback, the young gunslinger that was just hucking it downfield, not really giving a shit about where the ball goes. But now it's like they're just way more calculated. Like they're gonna pound the rock at you. Herbert's gonna dice you up when he needs to. And the weapons aren't flashy, but he's gonna hit them, and they're gonna make plays when they have to. And that's just not sexy. They play good defense. Harbaugh's not a flashy coach in the way his style of play, and I think that's a lot of it.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah,
they're a good team though.
Oh, they're a very good team.
So
got scary there at the end, but then also, I mean, I think we should obviously talk about it because the Bengals seems like 4-7. Everybody hates on like Mahomes and Kelsey. I think I'm starting to hate the Burrow Chase duo a whole lot more. They are just the biggest fucking divas of all time. And you can just tell it's like, yeah, the other one's games. Maybe they do because they aren't just have the shittiest attitude of all fucking time.
Yeah.
Your kicker misses 2 field goals. I don't care how mad you are at him. I don't care what you say behind. When a reporter asks you, like, do you say anything? Or what's his job? You say, yeah, he's our guy. He's still our guy. We know he'll make him next time.
Yeah.
Instead, it's just not didn't say anything to him. Oh, no, he knows he has to make mistakes. It's like, Jesus Christ, pick up a fucking guy when he's down.
No, 100%.
You wonder why you're 4-7.
Yep.
Absolutely.
That's a good point.
Starting to piss me off.
Yeah. No, we talked about it kind of with Chase, I think, earlier in the year too. But you're right, Burrow's kind of contributed to it a little bit too now. Yeah, no, I think that was a good point.
Patrick Mahomes and Kelsey would never like blame Bucker if they lost the game because of Harrison Bucker.
People kind of just I feel like people kind of just hate Mahomes and Kelsey just kind of for no reason sometimes.
Yeah, they do,
like,
100%. And then like the whole
it's just like they're just really good.
Yeah,
it's like
the whole
Swift
thing.
Yeah, like that didn't help.
No, like it's 100% true though. Those two would never, ever just kind of shit talk Harrison Bucker.
Yeah,
if Harrison Bucker missed 2 or 3 kicks to lose a game. Never.
No.
But you see Jamar Chase for every loss blame somebody for fucking something.
Yeah, I get. Yeah, it's probably a little bit annoying when whatever you throw for 350 and 3 touchdowns, and you're constantly going for whatever 100+ yards and a touchdown or 2. Yeah, it probably gets a little old, but like I feel like more of that blame's like on our defense. Like, and again, like don't come out and say like, yeah, our defense has to play better. Like we're winning games basically, but like they're losing them. Like don't say that. Like we all know it. You don't say it.
Yeah, everybody like not been PR trained. Everybody knows in that case you just say the most cliche, just robot shit and just move on with your day.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's kind of does it for the Sunday recap. Again, Monday Night Football still going on. We got 4:30 to go. Oh yeah, sorry. I always forget.
You always.
I know. I skip them early on, and then I like get to the bottom, and then I just go back to the top, go right past over them. All right, yeah, let's do that. We can do Packers Bears first. That actually was a really funny game to begin with.
I feel like we should probably start with my team.
Okay, yeah.
I don't
care.
Well, your game was actually a better game.
Okay. All right. Yeah. 52-6.
One team was a lot better than the other team. I don't. We're getting to the point where this line seems historically great. You can put up the numbers. I think right now they're second ever, like through 10 weeks in point differential, only behind the 07 Patriots. They're just beating the shit out of teams.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a huge thing in the locker room after the game for the Lions with like all media, with people kind of saying like, are they like this kind of bullshit? Like, why are they running up the score? They challenged to play in the fourth quarter. Sure, you didn't have to do that. It's like every player on the team was like, yeah, well, like we're NFL players. Like, if you don't show up and play your best football, we're gonna beat the fuck out of you.
Yeah.
Like, sorry. Like, no, we're not gonna rest our starters 10 minutes into the third quarter. Like, not gonna happen. So I don't know. They're really fucking good though.
Yeah, no, they do look really, really, really good. Has Doug Peterson been fired yet? Or?
No, I don't know how.
Okay.
The team, they had 7 drives. They had 7 touchdowns.
Yeah, not good. Not good. All right.
So one negative play. Also, the other thing was I think they had the biggest yard differential in modern football history. It was like 647 to 140.
Also, I will say too, in terms of like the Goff thing, it's really unfortunate that he like effectively like borderline killed his entire MVP campaign last week, because I saw a stat on Sunday Night Football last night that was just fucking ridiculous. The last 3 home games, he has 8 incompletions, 9 passing touchdowns, and a receiving touchdown. So he has 2 more touchdowns than he does incompletions in his last 3 games at Ford Field. That's a crazy stat.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, littered in there was a game at Houston where he threw 5 picks.
I think if he can throw less than 3, he'll be like a finalist.
Yeah, no, he'll
Because
still
I don't
be
care
the
what you
top.
say. I don't care what you say. It's going to be media propaganda. Because I don't know how many he's at right now.
It's just gonna be
at 7, right?
If the Ravens and the Bills are both like good at the end there, it's gonna be tough to beat Lamar and Josh Allen.
Okay, so that's my thing. By finalist, I was going to say he would probably fill in 3, which I would call finalist. My whole thing is like, if like Mahomes finishes ahead of him, and Mahomes is playing on Mahomes, I'm going to protest something.
Yeah,
because Mahomes is probably going to end up with like 16 to 18 interceptions on the year.
Yeah, no, I get that. All right, yeah, let's talk Packers Bears. It's just comical at this point. Coming into this one, the Packers have beaten them 10 straight times. Bears had never beaten LaFleur. There's not a single guy on the Bears roster coming into this game that had beaten the Packers in a Bears uniform. And I mean, Caleb Williams plays a hell of a game. They put themselves in a position to win the game with a time expiring field goal, and he gets blocked. And it's just funny. Like it's the most Bears thing of all time. It wouldn't happen to any other team. It feels like, really, in terms of like Bears Packers. You finally have a chance to get the monkey off the back, beat Big Brother, and you get your field goal blocked. Especially on which just virtually goes down as a coaching error by Eberflus. Why the hell did they not run another play?
Yeah, that makes no sense.
Cairo Santos doesn't have a good leg. The Packers field goal block unit literally said, "They're like, yeah, we knew he didn't have a good leg. He has to kick the low."
Have you ever seen him kick a 50-yarder? It's low.
Yeah, so they're like, yeah, we just knew we had to get our hands up. And so if you know that, when they like were up like at the line, like ready to run a play with like 20 seconds left on the clock at the end of the game.
Yeah, they sat there.
They had timeout, and they just stood there like looking at the sideline, like, what are we doing? They just kind of confused. They didn't know what the fuck to do. And that's coaching. Again, we knew Eberflus has to be fired. Like, this is probably just good for the Bears long term, because this is just another strike to get Eberflus the fuck out of there.
Yeah. No, he's a bad coach.
Yeah.
2 questions. Could there have been a flag on that last play?
On the leverage thing?
Yeah.
Probably. I will say the one thing about that.
I've seen some that were like, well, he didn't use it, but it also.
If it happened to the Packers, I'd say the same thing, 100%. At the same time, the leverage thing seems very ticky-tacky. It seems 100%. Like they can't decide when to call it. When
it didn't really seem like he used him for leverage. It was more of like he got his hands on him when he was still really like vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't really do anything. Second, obviously, a lot of this has just been kind of joking. Any concerns with Packers?
No, not really. I feel like honestly, my biggest takeaway for the Packers in this game was Christian Watson with really good, which one of the Packers beat reporters like made a good point. Like, the Packers, since like Christian Watson has been drafted in games that he's played, are, I believe, they're like right around 500 in games where he has like less than 4 catches or something like that. In games where he has 4 or more, they're like 7-3, I think. And it's been every single time too. It's been kind of towards the end of the year that they kind of get him rolling. If they get him rolling, he stays healthy. That's a game changer for the offense, because he's still the most physically talented like receiver on this team. Jaden Reed's fast. He's fun. Dobbs is usually pretty reliable for the most part. Wicks has a high ceiling too, but has had drop issues this year. No, I'm not really that concerned about the Packers in general. I think they're really fine, really, for the most part. So, also like Love, like for the most part, I will say too, like Love, I think finally looked healthy for the first time in this game. Even like the pick where he overthrew Tucker Kraft. I guess shout out to Cash, my brother. I was talking to him about this. He made a good point, I thought, which I noticed earlier with a check on Jacobs too. I think Love kind of forgot how hard he could throw the ball, like, because like he really stepped in that one and he just kind of sailed it. And it's like earlier in the game too. It's like he had Jacobs like on a little check down, and he whips it out to him, and it's just a little high, but like it got to him so fast. Like in past weeks, like it feels like he just floats out there. And then the one other one too that I remembered was Christian Watson downfield runs a little comeback, and like Love for a second was about to step up and then maybe run. He finds him, just flips his hips, and just whips it to him and gets it there just in time. Past weeks, that throws
Yeah,
either
that goes
completion
bad.
or pick because the ball doesn't get there in time.
Yep.
So happy overall with what I saw from the Packers for the most part. All right, that's the NFL Week 11 recap. And that being said, we'll go to one more quick commercial break. Once we get back from that, we'll do Rock Hard Takes, and we'll get you all out of here. So once again, listen to Rock Hard Ball for the Dogs Media Network at Culture Ball Dogs, and we will be right back. If I can find the commercial. There it is.
On the College Football Dogs website, you'll find a main page that features some of our biggest and newest stories. Our conference pages for content related to your favorite team's conference. Our team store, where we have products that are available all year long, as well as gear available for a limited time only. Our podcast page, where you can see when one of the 12 plus College Football Dogs podcasts is streaming live on social media. Our subscription page, where you can join our Discord. If you're interested in becoming a contributor at College Football Dogs, email us at info@collegefootballdogs.com. If you enjoy any College Football Dogs content, we really do appreciate any donations you can make by visiting the donate page on our website or scanning the QR code here.
College Football Dogs, for the fans.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Rock Hard Ball, part of the Dogs Media Network at Culture Ball Dogs. As I just said, last thing we're going to do today is Rock Hard Takes, which is best fast food restaurants. Also, I guess I'll shout out a quick comment from Christian. Said, "Hey, Cart, what's up, Christian? Good to see you in here, buddy. First time commenter, so always good to pop a cherry there." But fast food restaurants,
Fast food
Fast
/ fast casual.
fast casuals, which I believe I know exactly what you're talking about when you say that. So,
Who has won one?
huh?
Who has won one?
I don't know.
Fuck. Should we do like a quick little brainstorm? So when was the last one? Would have been last Thursday.
Yeah. Was that
Thanksgiving?
Was that the Thursday
Nothing.
after Halloween?
Yeah. Shit. Was it? It was announcers.
Yeah. You took Al Michaels one.
Yes. Did I?
I think so.
Are we sure? I actually
No.
don't remember where
I really don't know. You can have one. You can have one. Go ahead.
No, you have it because I think
No,
you're
no,
right.
no,
Elmo.
no, go. Take one.
All right. I'll take Chipotle.
Yeah. I figured. So I actually big brain that, and you going one is fine because I'm just going to take Qdoba too, which I like better anyways, personally. So
You just lost the draft, man.
no,
Qdoba's not great. And nobody, I would say 90% of human beings would say Chipotle is better than Qdoba, which then
I feel like that's way off.
Pick another powerhouse.
No,
Why are we taking a guy who's second?
because I'm going to take
Take the guy who's number one in his own category.
I am going to take him next because I have 2 picks in a row.
Okay.
So I'm going to go McDonald's next, which is obviously the king of fast food.
It is.
But no, again, back to the Qdoba Chipotle thing. I think you're way off on the 90% thing. I think there's a lot more people out there, especially in recent years, who would say that Qdoba has caught up to and passed by a lot of people's standards. Chipotle has been not good the last couple of years. It's not bad by any means.
Break it to everybody. It's good. It just got more expensive for some reason.
Yeah, which is part of the problem. And
it does not mean that does not mean the food's worse.
It's not significantly.
It's not significantly worse, but it is worse.
You don't pay for guac, which is awesome. You don't pay for queso, which is the queso especially is way better at Qdoba.
The queso is better.
Qdoba is horrible.
It's not horrible.
It's pretty bad. It's just it just tastes like melted cheese.
That's what queso is.
It tastes like melted shredded cheese.
Okay, well, you said that's just tastes like melted cheese. That's queso, my friend.
Actually, queso isn't queso just cheese?
No, it's cheese and like peppers.
No, isn't the
queso is cheese and
just yeah. Yes. It's translates to just cheese. So technically, my Kraft American is queso. All right, but anyways, no, I'm saying by the fact that I think that Qdoba is on the same playing field as Chipotle. Sure, yeah. Overall, Chipotle probably takes the cake, but
I just think I'm not okay. I'm saying
I think that Qdoba is closer to Chipotle than anything else would be closer to McDonald's in terms of burgers.
I think Wendy's is.
I like Wendy's, but in terms of
I'm not gonna pick. I'm saying I think you could have got a Qdoba in the 5th round. So the fact that you used that as 1-1 was pretty fucking crazy.
That I mean, I get your point there, but at the same time, I also kind of want to prove the point by just taking it right after of like,
Okay.
I don't think that there's like a difference.
I'll make the graphic. We will.
We can agree to
posting-
disagree.
We will be
but
posting this on Twitter, and there will be agreements with me. I get so like you drafted him 1 just to have that sheer like I think Qdoba was better than Chipotle.
I know that was never the argument.
You would have gotten Qdoba in the 5th if you wanted it. Because I'm
Yeah,
not.
but I was that's what I was saying. I was taking Qdoba right after because like I was making the point like I don't think Qdoba was that much worse by any means. So that's like I don't know if you get what I'm saying there, but
I get what you're saying. I'm just not going to agree with it, but I get your logic. But I don't agree with your
I think
logic.
you do this a lot in the rock rotation. You take it like a little bit too seriously in terms of like the logic.
Yeah,
You're always like you could have gotten that way later. I'm like I don't really fucking care. Like I'm just gonna draft what I want.
Fucking draft.
All right, go ahead. Take your pick.
2, my second. I'm going to go Jersey Mike's. Dominates the sandwich game, and then turn it around. I'll take what dominates the chicken game. Chick-fil-A. We can pack this fucking draft home, fellas. It's a clean sweep.
Okay. No, good picks. Like them for the most part. I will take a good just late night classic. And in terms of like a true, like obviously Qdoba and Chipotle are a little bit different in terms of like not really true fast food. I'll go with what I think most people agree is the better of the 2 options of the 2 kings. I'll go Taco Bell over Taco John's, which I think is again.
Yeah, Taco Bell gets way too much shit for like only being drunk food.
Huh?
Taco Bell gets way too much shit for like only being like a drunk food. Like Taco Bell's good.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's good. So I'll go there. My next probably I guess question would be is like how loose are we being with the fast casual?
I was gonna get something that was pretty fucking loose.
Okay.
So you can throw it out there, and if it's what I was thinking, I'll let you have it. Or if it was in the same ballpark.
Okay, so I was gonna go Wingstop.
Have it.
Huh?
Have it.
Okay. I'll go Wingstop.
It's for sure fast casual. It's the same thing
Okay.
as Chipotle.
Okay, yeah. I was double checking. But yeah, I think they have very, very good wings.
Yeah.
Also been a big fan of them lately with the deal that they've been running. It's pretty sick. Helps out. And then also, I guess like the last thing I'll say about Wingstop is
The ranch.
The ranch paired with the fries, the parm fries in particular.
So
Yes.
people hate fries. I don't know
Really?
why.
I think they're
A
fucking
lot of
delicious.
people I know hate their
I
fries.
think they're fucking awesome.
Every single one of my roommates does not get their
No,
fries.
yeah, he's our our listener here, Brennan. He's mentioned soggy, which I get they are soft, but like I'm a lot more of just like a pure taste guy with fries.
Yeah.
Texture.
Oh,
I don't
100%.
really care as much about the crunchy and shit.
No,
So.
like I'll still like there can still be like kind of soggy good McDonald's fries as long as they're salted good enough.
Yeah, no, for sure. Glad you have 2 more, right?
But 2 final ones, right?
Yep.
All right. I don't know if this is you can call bullshit on this one. I still think it is kind of fast casual. Can I get a Domino's pizza?
Yeah, no, that's fine. I don't care.
Okay. So I'll take
I didn't really
Domino's.
think about pizza places.
I
I don't know why.
think it is.
So
the best.
I'm 100% going to allow it, but I always just think of pizza as like its own thing.
Yeah,
separated
exactly.
from fast
Yeah.
food.
And then I was
But-
like, but Domino's
But
is
yeah, no,
kinda
that
like
works.
I can go in
Yeah,
and
no, go ahead. I don't care.
it's the best of them. Like the Pizza Huts, the Papa John's, the Little Caesars. Little Caesars definitely the most fast casual. But Domino's is good, and then I got a 5th one. I gotta really lock in here because I want to hit every single like bracket.
Yeah.
This might get hate too. Actually, this was probably the only one that would get it. I'm gonna go Dunkin' Donuts. Good coffee, good donuts. They got really good breakfast sandwiches. So
Okay, fair enough. I have one more.
Yeah.
I don't really know what avenue to go because I almost pretty much have to go back to a sector that we already hit because I think pretty much everything's taken. I don't know if there's another one where there's like.
I was gonna go Wendy's, but it's not gonna compete with McDonald's.
Yeah. I'm kind of trying to think of which one competes best with the one that you took in terms of the best.
I think there's one.
I think I'm going to go with this. I personally just am not. I like it, but it's
you're thinking exactly what I was thinking.
It's the sauce. I'm going to go Cane's.
Yep, Cane's.
Yeah, the chicken itself is not that good. It's just
the bread and the sauce combo is
like
just
juicy, but it's just basically water. It's not like a good like juicy like flavor. But yes, that's the Texas toast is fucking delicious. The sauce is amazing. The chicken's like good enough where like when you drown in the sauce, it works. even the fries I think are usually
They're
pretty
bad.
good.
I think they're bad fries.
Sometimes they are salty though.
They're just the most obvious, like
horrible
grocery store crinkle cut fries.
But again, at the end of the day, the sauce and the toast really drive it home. And at least I guess the tenders are like usually decent sized.
I get Cane's like a decent amount just because the toast sauce combos. If like I wasn't deemed a complete total fucking psychopath, I'll go to Raising Cane's and just get like 12 pieces of toast and 6 sauces.
Yeah.
But I'm not allowed to do that because of social norms.
Yeah.
That's just bullshit.
Yeah. But no, I feel like that's probably the closest comp you're gonna get in terms of like where people will have like a legitimate argument. Again, other than I do truly think that people would argue over Qdoba and Chipotle. That also might be more of like a regional thing a little bit because I feel like obviously you're from like suburbs of Chicago, stuff like that. I feel like on a national scale, Chipotle is like most people do think far and away better than Qdoba. I do truly feel like though, like in like the kind of like the Great Plains region, there's more of like I think people like Nebraska, South Dakota, North Dakota, maybe Kansas, whatever, Iowa. Like I think a lot of them would more go Qdoba over Chipotle because I feel like it's more. There's more of those around here. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Like there's like I know like for me personally, like I live from a very very small town. Closest Chipotle or Qdoba away is just a Qdoba, which is like 40 miles away, and then I believe in the town that's 80 miles away too that there's Qdoba. I don't know if there's Chipotle there for sure. So like I feel like it's just more there. Also Sam, fuck you, like showing up now. Bo Nix is Breeze 2.0, unfortunately. Yeah, shut the fuck up. We already dick rode him a little bit and you weren't even here. So yeah, don't show up now and try and pretend like you're this big Bo Nix guy. Yeah, we already gave him his flowers. So sorry, Sam. That's kind of mean, but it's true. I don't know. Do you have anything else to add, I guess, on Rock Hard Takes or anything before we go?
I mean, there was some obviously you could throw out there.
Five Guys? Yeah, Five Guys is really good. It's so damn
I haven't
expensive.
had it in 6 years or so because of just I'm not spending $25 for a fast food burger. I get it's a really good.
If it's like convenient for me to go there, I will do it because like if you buy it in person, it's not horrible. But especially like if you're like gonna order it and like you're already paying like a delivery fee and stuff like that on top of it, like it's just too.
I fucked up my 5. Damn it! If we could have redone it, I would have subtracted Dunkin' Donuts and I would have thrown in Panda Express.
Yeah, that would be a good one too. It's a good point. Yeah.
Fuck yeah, I love Panda.
Yeah, I probably should have taken that too. I would say other ones in terms of just honorable mentions, like you guys said, like Wendy's, in terms of like ones that can kind of compete with like the other sectors. I think the sandwich ones is tough.
Popeyes.
Sandwich one, yeah, Popeyes. I think people for some reason got like a lot. I feel like it used to be a lot more popular. Got really hated on. Now people are kind of liking a little bit more now. Again, KFC. I kind of fuck with KFC.
Yeah, it's always like a good option if it's like the only option. I put it as Subway. Like I'll always fuck with a Subway sandwich. I would just rather have other places, and I think that's the same with KFC.
Yeah.
KFC's fine. I would rather go the Popeyes route if I'm just getting chicken.
He said yeah, he picked it. Yeah. And then I will say sandwich sector. Jimmy John's, I do like fuck with it in terms of Jimmy John's is pretty cheap, and also it like I know it's their like slogan, but it truly is like fast as fuck. Like if you order it, like it does get to you. Like, there's one like that's fairly close to my house here, but it's like I order Jimmy, like if I want food fucking fast, like I order Jimmy John's here in like 15 minutes. So
another good one, Culver's.
Yep, Culver's very good.
It's a very good fast casual, but like
Freddy's, I really fucking love Freddy's.
Yeah, Freddy's great.
I think Freddy's really good.
Like I just know though every time I go there I'm spending $14.
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna
that's the biggest issue. Like
a bacon double cheeseburger. I'm
Culver's,
gonna get
Freddy's, Five Guys, all of them have the same problem. Like they're all, I think, really most people would agree, like better than your normal fast food like burger places, but they know it, and so like their prices are a little higher. It takes a little bit longer to get the food, so it's just like it's not true. It's not like your true fast.
Like if I step into a Culver's, I'm gonna get what I want. Like obviously as a kid, sometimes you couldn't. I'm growing up, so if I go somewhere, I'm gonna get what I want. So if I step into a Culver's, a Freddy's, like I know I'm spending, like you said, like anywhere from like $12 to $16. I can go to McDonald's and spend $5 and like be just as full.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that's where like those kind of lose value for me.
For sure. All right. Well, I think that's going to be about it for today's edition of Rock Hard Ball. Thank you guys all for joining us. It's good to be back and get going again on a Monday. We'll be back on Thursday, of course. We'll be doing the preview for this week's games in college football and the NFL. So it'll be week 13 preview for college football, week 12 preview for the NFL. Big games this week in college football again, which will be fun because this past couple weeks have been kind of lackluster for big matchups. I think there's a few, though, this coming week that we'll be able to keep an eye on. College football playoff pictures taking shape, so it'll be a big thing to keep an eye on. Even NFL playoff picture is starting to get to the point where teams are going to start winning games and get close to that point where they're going to have to borderline win out to make playoffs. So we'll preview all those games coming up on Thursday, but for now, we will get out of here, let you get on with the nights. But thanks for tuning in, and we will see you on Thursday.